And let's now shift our focus to the Maldives. A few weeks ago, we were the first to ask you, will President Mohammad Muizzu's anti-India moves cost him his job? Now, it looks like our impression was dead on. It looks like Muizzu is paying the price for cozying up to China because Maldivian lawmakers want him out of office. According to reports, the main opposition party of the Maldives, the Maldivian Democratic Party, is all set to file an impeachment motion against Muizzu. According to local media reports, the opposition has garnered enough signatures to file an impeachment motion. The motion will be submitted in the parliament soon. A total of 34 lawmakers, which includes representatives from the MDP and the Democrats, have backed this motion for impeachment, but it looks like the noose is tightening around Muizzu. You see, since coming to power in November last year, Muizzu has tried to redraw the Maldives' equation with India. And under his administration, the country's ties with the traditional ally India have sharply deteriorated. To us, this is not surprising. After all, that's what happens when you mollycoddle China. But there will always come a day of reckoning because the political class in the Maldives is livid and they want Muizzu out. They want him out so bad, in fact, that chaos erupted in the country's parliament on Sunday. Just have a look at these visuals. This, ladies and gentlemen, is the Maldivian parliament. And these are Maldivian lawmakers fighting like wild animals on the floor of the house. In video clips from Sunday that have now gone viral, lawmakers can be seen fist fighting, hair pulling and kickboxing each other. It looks like a boxing ring, but these are men and women in suits and ties. They are democratically elected by the people of the Maldives. The fight took place between MDP MP Isa and PNC MP Abdullah Shahim Abdullah Hakim. In one video, Shahim can be seen gripping Isa's leg before they both fall down. In another video, Isa can be seen kicking Shahim's neck and pulling his hair. The fight got so violent that an ambulance had to be called in after members suffered injuries. The chaos disrupted the proceedings of the day. A key vote on parliamentary approval for the Muizzu government was scheduled to take place on Sunday. Recently, two opposition parties have protested against the Muizzu government's anti-India pivot. The opposition parties have jointly issued press statements labeling the shift in the foreign policy as extremely detrimental to the Maldives' long-term development. They underscored that stability and security in the Indian Ocean is vital to the stability and security of the Maldives. They get it, but Muizzu, unfortunately, does not. And despite the backlash, Muizzu is not showing any intention of making things any better with India. In fact, he has doubled down, especially since he upgraded the Maldives' ties with China. Last Friday, in fact, as India celebrated the Republic Day, the Maldivian government sent a low-level official to attend the celebrations hosted by the Indian High Commission in the Maldives. This, you see, is in stark contrast to what happened in the past, where presidents of the country attended the annual event. Last year, former President Ibrahim Solih had made it a point to attend the event. He was, in fact, one of the first Maldivian leaders to wish India on the 26th of January. For the first time, no senior minister was present at the reception event. And the absence of President Muizzu or any senior Maldivian political leader for that matter suggests that Muizzu's office was sending out a message to New Delhi. Now, we should tell you, Muizzu did extend his greetings to India on Republic Day. An official statement released by his office referred to the centuries-old friendship between the two countries. He said it was founded on mutual respect and a deep sense of kinship. Those were his words. But does Muizzu actually mean that? It looks like he needs to be reminded. He is the one who wants Indian personnel in the Maldives to leave. He is the one who wants the Indian personnel primarily posted there for humanitarian and disaster relief out. He is the one who tried to mobilize domestic political bases by targeting India. He is the one who decided not to renew a pact for a hydrographic survey with the Indian Navy. He is the one who decided to snub India and visit China first for bilateral engagements. At a time when the world is getting more and more disillusioned with China's BRI, and as China's own economy is facing headwinds, Muizzu is the one singing to Beijing's tune. New Delhi, meanwhile, has shown maturity. India kept its cool even when Muizzu's ministers made derogatory remarks against the Indian Prime Minister. India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar asserted politics is politics and it cannot be guaranteed that in every country, every day, everybody will support us or agree with us. If the Indian soldiers there are seen as a greater threat than 37% of the Maldives' total debt that it owes to China, then it is for the people of the Maldives to decide. Has Muizzu gone completely China crazy? From a foreign leader going crazy for China, we turn to a Chinese company's crazy downfall. I am talking about Evergrande, the debt-laden Chinese property giant. 5 months after filing for bankruptcy, it has now been ordered to liquidate. You heard that right. Evergrande has been asked to abolish its operations by a Hong Kong court. The decision has been taken after an 18-month-long hearing. Now, this is a tragic fall from grace for Evergrande. You see, the company was once the second largest property developer in China in terms of sales. In fact, in the year 2018, it became the most valuable real estate company in the world. Cut to the year 2021, and Evergrande became the poster child of China's real estate crisis. It earned the title of the world's most indebted property developer with about $300 billion in liabilities. And now it has failed to convince a Hong Kong court that it has a viable restructuring plan. This is after the company was given 7 extensions since the court proceedings were first brought against it in June 2022. However, reports saying Evergrande can still appeal. But the question is, what led to the company's downfall? How did it become so indebted? How did things reach this point? And what happens next? Let's find out. Now, to start with, what exactly is liquidation? Well, it is a process where a company's assets are seized and sold off. The proceeds can then be used to repay the outstanding debts. That said, whether this process is actually executed depends on the Chinese government. Also, the liquidation order does not necessarily mean that Evergrande will go bust and collapse. And this brings us to a bigger question. Why is Evergrande in trouble in the first place? And why has it been asked to liquidate? Well, it's primarily because the company borrowed more than $300 billion during its growing years. And the trouble started when China drafted new rules to control the amount owed by big real estate developers to keep its business afloat. After these rules, Evergrande offered its properties at major discounts to keep the money flowing in. But it struggled to meet the interest payments on its debts. and lost 99% of its value in the last 3 years. Unable to repay the interest on its loans, the company formally defaulted in December 2021. It was given time to come up with a plan to repay its debts that suited its creditors, but this did not happen. And analysts are now skeptical if any of the debt will actually be repaid in full, ever. So what happens to Evergrande now is the immediate question. Well, the court has ruled that Evergrande's boss, Hui Ka-yan, who is under criminal investigation, would no longer control the company. It added that Evergrande's broader management would be revamped in a bid to ease the fears of the creditors. And besides this, the court will also appoint a body tasked with liquidating Evergrande's assets in Hong Kong. The company, however, insists that its operations in the mainland will be unaffected by the decision. Next question, will this decision affect China's economy? Not really. Analysts say Evergrande's legal troubles are unlikely to spark a lot of concern on the mainland. They say that the impact would have been evident when the company went bankrupt, and the disintegration of its dead husk is unlikely to do much either. But Evergrande's woes have become emblematic of a years-long crisis in China's property market, a crisis that is reverberating throughout the world's second-largest economy. In fact, it has left many home buyers waiting for their new properties. Many of them have even taken to social media sites, such as Weibo, to share their frustration about the property developers. They fear that Evergrande's fall may trigger a domino effect, where more property giants fall one by one. Attacks at the high seas have become the new normal. Warships to commercial vessels, they are either being hit by the Houthis or being hijacked by the Somalian pirates. Between the Houthis and the Somalian pirates, it's a deadly combination. Neither has anything to lose, but a lot of loss to inflict. And time and again, one country is coming to the rescue of the distressed ships. One country is providing security, helping the vessels fight the terror in the high seas. India. It is India that is time and again responding to the SOS calls. The Indian Navy has been rescuing ships caught in the crossfire of the high seas conflict, and one such incident came to light today itself. An Iranian fishing vessel was hijacked by Somalian pirates. The boat's name? FV Iman. There were 17 fishermen on board. Somalian pirates boarded that ship along the east coast of Somalia. The ship's crew was taken hostage. The distressed ship sent out an SOS message, and the Indian Navy responded. INS Sumitra intercepted the ship. ALH Dhruv choppers on board the Indian warship encircled the hijacked vessel. Indian commandos issued a warning to the pirates, asking them to back off. The pirates were disarmed, told to move towards Somalia. The hijacked vessel was sanitized and released for onward transit. And over the weekend as well, the Indian Navy carried out a daring operation. The Houthis had attacked a British oil tanker in the Gulf of Aden. The tanker, MV Marl Nuwanda, had caught fire. There were 23 crew members on board, 22 Indians and one Bangladeshi national. The distressed vessel sent an SOS, and INS Vishakhapatnam responded to its call. 10 Indian personnel boarded the burning vessel with firefighting equipment and helped douse the flame. American and French personnel joined the operation. In a video, Captain Abhilash Rawat, the master of MV Marl Nuwanda, thanked the Indian Navy. In the first week of January, a Liberian-flagged vessel, MV Lila Norfolk, was in distress. The vessel was carrying cargo from Brazil to Bahrain when 5 to 6 armed men were trying to hijack the vessel. There were 21 crew members on board, including 15 Indians. The ship sent out an SOS message and the Indian Navy responded. An Indian Navy aircraft issued a warning to the pirates. The armed men fled the ship, and the Indian Navy's elite Marcos commandos boarded that ship, sanitized it, and rescued the distressed crew. Here's a video. On the 23rd of December, another Liberian-flagged vessel was attacked. It was on its way to Mangalore, India, from Jubail, Saudi Arabia. The vessel was attacked by a drone. A fire broke out. The vessel was damaged. There was a total power failure. The Indian Navy was quick to respond. A Navy aircraft, a warship, and a Coast Guard ship were diverted to help the distressed ship. The tanker was then safely escorted to Mumbai. India has responded to these incidents by increasing its deployment in the high seas. India currently has nearly 12 warships on anti-piracy and maritime security operations in the Arabian Sea and the Gulf of Aden. There are Indian destroyers, Indian frigates at sea to assist the merchant vessels in case of an emergency. There are Indian aircraft, drones ensuring safety and security of the vessels in the Indian Ocean. India is helping the vessels, irrespective of which flag they are sailing under, irrespective of the nationalities of the crew members. Indian commandos are risking their lives to save those stranded at the sea. India is carrying out daring missions without flexing its muscle. The Indian Navy is following protocol, acting as per the established SOPs amid all the rage on the high seas, amid all the terror, the escalation and the crossfire. India is the one proving to be a force for good. India has become the savior on the high seas and the net security provider in the Indian Ocean region.